because you travel so much, all over the world, is there any
tradition or custom from somewhere else that you've encountered in your travels that you would love to introduce to the British people, introduce to New Zealand, to introduce to the rest of America?
Americans would do or something like that?
Yeah, we went to Saudi Arabia for a USO tour, and the women in our group, none of us were married, so they had to travel in a different vehicle, and they had to wear the head coverings and everything. That'd be pretty cool. Bring that back. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? But we could do that.
And, can you imagine that being taken out of context right now?
No, because that's the thing. That's the thing. We can definitely cut this and then put it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Goes viral.
Florida man canceled.
Yeah, Florida man wants to go back to the 50s. It's like, what?
Yeah, well, the whole fucking state of Florida wants to go back to the 50s. Yeah. But the thing about that was that, of course, just like with female comics, right? They fucking were furious. The women in our group were furious because they were like, I have to cover my fucking, I'm going to be in a Jeep. I'm going to be in a vehicle. And they were like, yeah, but you don't mess around. It's Saudi Arabia. You don't want to mess around. So these, fuck, man, it's terrible because they're very progressive. They're very, and this was 2001. This was early 2001. Wow. So pre 9/11. And so obviously they were pissed, and we were joking, making fun of them and stuff. But at the same time, sympathy for them because we all traveled together. Yeah. But no, I wouldn't want to bring that tradition back. I will say this. I thought the coffee in South Africa was the best coffee I've ever had. And I know everyone's like, oh, their wine is great. I was like, man, their coffee was great.
Really? Wow. Well, because you weren't drinking. You were drinking coffee and traveling, hiking 9,000 feet.
You were just getting your taste buds back.
So that's what it was.
What is this elixir? That's coffee, sir. You're just tasting it for the first time in 15 years.
Joking.
Missing out on this.
But you know what I like? You know what I liked in Berlin? Their train system is honor. It's honor system. It's like, yes, you have to pay for the train. And I was like, oh, okay, where do I pay? You pay at that box. Is there anyone paying attention to the box? No. And I'm like, how's that working out for you? And they're like, great. We have the cleanest, safest trains in the world. And I thought, I wish we did that here, but we'd fucking screw it up. We would. It would go broke in 2 weeks.
Yeah, people would be jumping on. I mean, people do it in New York anyways. Jump over the turn thing, So it's like,
Yeah. You can get away with it in parts of London. Well, it used to be paper tickets in London. Paper tickets into the little machine until I don't know 15 years ago when it changed to the same cards that we all use. But yeah, there's a lot of overground train systems, I think, through Europe and including in Britain, where I remember you can get on and off as long as you know which stops are the unmanned, like not the main city type stops.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But I would like to figure that out here. I was actually talking about the LA subway because I find the LA subway efficient, but it has a stigma. I've never lived anywhere in the world where there's such a stigma around getting in that. And it's justified, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say back to, I think the honor system works in play. I think because, for example, in Venezuela, where I was born, the subway, it's one of it was one of the first subways in South America, and it still runs great. And I think people still, maintain that because it's the only way to travel. It's the only way to move, especially for poor people. So I think like having a, maybe like when you have the honor system for something that people need, they're going to take care of it, even if it's like, because I feel like when it's something that people don't really use or don't really care. I mean, for example, here in LA, everybody mostly has a car so that's probably why it would not work, because people are like, man, who gives a shit? I'll just take an Uber,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is. But, I mean, for all these things you could take a car to, like I took it to Universal Studio. I took the subway to Universal Studios yesterday from I live in Hollywood here, and it's hugely efficient. But I know that there's such a stigma around it. Not a lot of people will do that. Everybody would rather drive the 50-minute drive
Well,
and sit in the traffic and then park their cars for $20 at Universal Studios or whatever.
yeah,
and
and that's LA.
I don't know.
That's LA in 2 sentences right there. I mean, that's
yeah,
LA.
drive and park. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Chicago, I had a car, but I was always like, why do I have this stupid fucking car?
Yeah.
Because the train system there is fantastic.
Yeah, I grew up in Maryland, D.C., and like the train system over there is great too. I mean, I was from when I used to live in Maryland and travel to Virginia, just take the subways, the Red Line, and they're all great. So it's here that I hopefully it gets better, but I think that was definitely apparently it was the car industry that did it back in the 50s or something that they
That's
supposedly
the legend,
that's what I read. So
Yeah,
a homeless guy told me. That he was
probably right.
While on the subway, I was on the subway. Homeless
he was
guy,
like, I used to. He was like,
this thing is so empty. It's so empty because the car industry has got you guys all up there.
Well, he did like, I used to own the rail system in LA, while he was asking for the dollar, So
that you love to bring home.
It makes me remember Barcelona bringing in the millennium, year 2000, and eating 12 grapes for the.
Oh yeah, I do it. I mean, I'm from Venezuela, but we got colonized by the Spanish. So yeah, we do the 12 grapes. Yeah.
What is it? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I would need you guys to explain it to me. What is it?
Well, I mean, Francisco, you should probably explain it because I don't know. I just found myself quite drunk on absinthe.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. No, I think it's a lot of superstitions, like to welcome the new year. So you're like, grapes are like, you eat 12 grapes. It's supposed to be at the stroke of like midnight, bang, and you eat, and because they symbolize 12 months that you're gonna have good luck or like or money or something. But like, so you're eating like 12 grapes. But like, obviously you can't eat them like at every, second, So you eat 12 grapes and that's what it is. There's also like, you also eat lentils, supposed to be like something about money, lentils. Another thing is supposed to be like, you're supposed to take out your, if you want to travel, you go out with your bags to like the corner of your street. And that means that you're going to travel for the next year.
Wow, this is all new. This is all New Year's stuff because I just think New Year's like somebody's just trying to get a kiss.
Well,
I think it's better than having to snog one of your parents.
These are better. All these little things are better. Like, because I like the whole idea, like start the year the way you intend to carry it on. All that kind of philosophy, which sounds like some.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like in Venezuela, for example, New Year's is as important as Christmas in terms of family oriented. It's like you need to receive the year with your family and then you go party. But it's not like, so when we moved to the US, me and my family, it was so weird because like our first New Year's here, like it was like dead, like nobody like, it was like another day and we were like, what happened? Because over there is like a complete party, I'm assuming like in Barcelona too as well. So like so it all comes from that, I think, from like when you're in family, you got to come up with all this superstitions to kind of like keep the family together. I don't know. I'm just, but
that's really interesting because I know like some of the other cultures I've seen, like there's the Asian culture hangs money on that Christmas tree, and the kids get to take money and out of these all different values, and it is referred to as being lucky and all this kind of stuff. And
Sorry. I was gonna totally interrupt. I was just remembering I did a card in Newfoundland. You might know about that, and you're not from.
Did you get screeched in?
I was screeched in. Yeah.
What's
that's my part of the world. Oh well, this one. Well, congratulations, Nina. That means you're an honorary Newfoundlander.
Yeah.
Oh, Francisco, I'm gonna have to continue to explain, but it's a bit insane. It's one of the more insane things. But if you're new to Newfoundland, they like to screech you in, which means you've got to learn a little limerick that they'll give you. You have to take a shot of screech. Screech is like
Saved by the Bell screech.
No, it's terrible rum. Saved by the Bell screech might have been named after the screech, but Newfoundland screech. It's like, man, I'd have to get a Newfie to explain it, but it's like toxic rum. take Jaeger. I'm glad we talked about New Year's because I was thinking you guys are talking 12 grapes, and I'm like, we all have 12 shots at New Year's, but that's the thing. So there's this thing called Screech. It's like a rum whiskey. You take a shot of that, and then you have to kiss a fish. You have to kiss the cod, and that's what Nina was saying. I've kissed the cod in Newfoundland, so that's the tradition. So you do their little.
And what
limerick.
is that for?
It's for to be an honorary Newfoundlander. Everybody who comes to Newfoundland, we highly recommend that you get screeched in, so that you can.
Welcoming, yeah. I felt it was really good vibes. That I like that you arrive somewhere and people tell you what to do. This is what you're doing, and then it was great.
Yeah. And now that I've been doing this comedy thing for a while, but I have been to Newfoundland a couple times, and I've snuck that tradition up on a couple of friends. Of like, here we go, we're gonna welcome you to Newfoundland, and a couple of them did not like it. I'm not kissing a fucking fish, and I'm like, it's just part of the fun. It's part of what makes you an honorary visitor to this land. But I
like superstitious. I think they're like just. I mean, it doesn't hurt, you know what I mean? But it might help you. So like, why not? Like, I mean,
why not?
Yeah, and it's a great conversation piece for the rest of your trip in Newfoundland. When you can share it with Newfies and going, what the fuck? You guys made me kiss a fish.
Oh, okay.
And Chile.
Yeah. I have to be. So you have to be something I learn on the road or traveling, and then I want to implement that in this other country.
Yeah, like a thing that people do in Argentina that you like to bring back to Chile or to America or
something that it should be global is turning right on red lights. Something happened here in LA. I think that should be like if there's like a global government controlling the planet, the deep state of the universe, or something like that. That should be like the first move. I think we should push that agenda more than anything.
But in Chile, they don't do it?
They don't do it. So you're like there and there's a red light. I feel so dumb now because I already experienced the other side. I already live in LA. So I know what it's like, the pleasure of turning in red lights. And now I go there and I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, there's nothing going on. And I'm just there. I don't know. I feel it's a great idea. And I think it's the best thing about LA.
That's one of the best answers we've had for this question before. That's a very good one, because I have felt that too in other countries and stuff, when you're just sitting there, especially after gigs, especially considering how late it is for a lot of us after a gig. And there has been, I'm trying to think of the country now, but I was in a promoter's car at like 2 a.m. on our way back from the gig or whatever. It's 2 a.m. We're sitting at a red light with a blinker on. And I'm like, why don't we turn? He's like, oh, it's illegal. It's illegal to turn here. And I'm like, holy shit.
Wow. So Venezuela never struggles with that because you don't stop at any red light. Like, you gotta go or you're gonna get robbed, literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if it's 2 a.m. and you're waiting there like an asshole. No, you make it. You basically do it like a stop. You're like, and then go.
You make a stop sign.
Yeah,
right.
Stop. But also New York, because also even within states, I know, like, I don't know if New York still does it or not, but I remember like when the times that I drove to New York, that in New York you couldn't turn right on red.
I know. So I think you can. I was there. I was there a couple months ago, and I remember
now you
that.
Can.
Yeah. No, not everywhere.
Oh,
not everywhere.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
I think in some parts of it. I mean, it's not in Manhattan. I think in Manhattan you have to stay in the red light.
So you would want that to bring to Chile?
I would bring that everywhere.
I think that's a great idea.
Everywhere.
And anything that you want to bring from somewhere to America?
I was thinking about that. I was trying to think about something from Chile that I would love to bring to
America. Another country.
From a trip that I learned something cool. Well, I love the things in especially in Argentina, that everything starts so late that you can have a legit show. I mean, you open the door at 1 a.m. in the morning in a theater and it's like everyone is there. And this is cool. So there's shows like, I don't know, at 7, then at 9, then at 11, then there's one at 1. So that would be nice to have shows that are like, late. So you can just jump from one another and even get that last piece of the cake really late. And that was nice about Argentina. I like that.
It's almost like having a festival on the go.
Every weekend.
whatever.
Right?
Well, yeah, there's a lot. I would say one thing that I really did like was it sounds weird, but I liked not tipping, just having the tip built in, because
I love that.
It was so great, and it's not a cheap thing. I mean, I like knowing that whether I'm there or not, that my server isn't dependent on, and I've waited tables. You're not dependent on just like how somebody's feeling that day, or like JJ, I didn't like his accent, and I couldn't understand when he was telling me Caesar salad, so kind of ruined my. I don't want that to. So I just loved how the service industry was running. I actually really like, because I'm sober now, but like the way that they drink in Scotland is like maybe showed me that I was an alcoholic, because I hate all the little games with drinking. I don't want to play drinking games. I don't want to go to a bar where like a bartender has on effing suspenders and he's cutting a fig. I like to go to bars where the lights are up. There's no TVs. There's no agendas for what we're doing there. And people are pounding, not even like fighting or yelling, just like people that just enjoy drinking. And I loved it over there. So I did like pub culture over there as well. Yeah. So I dig it.
And can I point out something on top of the tips being baked in? Like, so, and in Britain, for example, you buy people drinks, you buy your server a drink instead of tipping often. So you go, we'll have 3 drinks for us and 1 for yourself, kind of thing. And that's kind of how they pay it forward in Britain. But also, speaking of having things baked in, they do it with their taxes and stuff as well, which I think is great. When you go into a shop and you have a bottle of Jameson's there, and the bottle is £20, and that's it. It's not $19.99 plus whatever taxes you get hit with at the till or anything like that. You just know, and it's all baked in. I'm a big fan of that too, Al, man, on all those levels.
And also, I'll just say, like, especially going through Central America, just the warmth of the people and how that would translate into their entertainment spaces, where I'm sure if you saw where we would be listening to music or drinking and dancing later, you'd be like, this looks like a scary Stonehenge. But when you get there and you feel they turn the lights on, there's nothing fancy. There's no door guy with like, a black suit on and a clipboard. Like, oh, you're not good looking enough to be in here. Bring the hotties up front and the regular people just want to have fun. It was like such a communal, like you could tell even that they looked a little shabby. Everybody had the best stuff on that they could afford. And it was just everybody in there kicking it in this very non-pretentious way. And it was fun and it felt free. And like sometimes like I think that's why I never like strip clubs, because you can always feel the bouncer looking for a reason to kick your ass. Like there's like a credit card machine, and it just seemed like I like to be in some remote island on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, and like literally the only thing that's cold is being kept cold by ice cubes. There's really no electricity. They're playing a CD. And it's just like it was this freedom and this non-pretentious fun, like, oh, dude, you're wearing last year's shirt in here, like people didn't know what you were even talking about. It's just people dancing and having a good time, and I kind of always like that.
There's no hidden agenda. It's kind of like it is what it is, and it's like people are there just to have fun, to relax, and that's a great. I mean, when you go into, I think anywhere, like in any time that you travel and you get to those points, I mean, it's because it is hard to find those places. I mean, I guess when you're as a comic, when you're on the road, I mean, like, because especially in the US, you go to big cities and stuff like that. I mean, it's hard to find those chill places. I mean, I don't know if you know of any, but like, to find those places where it's just very like chill and let's just drink.
It's hard. Why do you, JJ? How's like, because everybody's like, at around our age, or maybe even 10 years ago from me, oh, go to a lounge. But I'm like, isn't this just a club we're sitting down at? This drink is still $14. Like, well,
I can still hear or see people.
I kind of like still want to dance. I just don't want to ruin young people's night. I
don't want to.
I'm still a fan of the house party. I like the house party the most.
House
party after the club night, and especially if people who are at the show are at the house party, then you're really crushing it. If not, it's you lose all your powers. If you just go to a nightclub, after a comedy show, it's like kryptonite, and you're just another dude in the nightclub.
Oh yeah. Well, it's also at this age too. It's like, I mean, like going to like a club with so young people. Like, first of all, I remember like I would wait for hours just to get in there, and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I'm not gonna wait an hour. I'm like, either I can't come in, and if it's crazy packed and I can't move, I'm also leaving. I'm like, no, I wanna, I'll dance and stuff like that, but I don't want to be like, hey, what guy, I'm like, So yeah, I mean, I'm trying. I guess we gotta set up a club like that for just more adult. It's like, hey, it's only 20 people allowed, and you're chilling.
When I was on my honeymoon, we went from London to Paris, Paris to Rome, and Rome to Madrid. So I got to experience those different cultures.
Right.
I fell in love with all of them for different reasons. And it made me wish that more people could travel instead of assuming things about like other countries and people from other countries. Because I mean, I went into Paris thinking everybody was going to be rude just based off what I had heard from other people.
Yeah, because that's what you heard.
Yeah.
And it turns out they're actually really nice if you attempt to speak French to them. They're just like, just don't be rude. Like, we speak French here. Like, don't come in here speaking English and then, forcing us to speak English. Like, try a little bit of French first. They'll bend and they'll speak to you in English. Trust me, I don't want to hear bad French. But they'll speak to you in English at some point. But they really appreciate the effort. They really appreciate the effort of doing that. But I did go in with some preconceived notions like, man, they're going to be rude to me and I'm going to end up hating Paris. Paris is absolutely one of the most beautiful cities.
Great.
I would go there. I would go there for like a week.
That's the same thing too. I had the same thing of like, oh, they're gonna be, and they were all nice. It is true. It's like, it's not, because I think it's also like, if you bring, I think it's the arrogance, of like being like, sorry, you're gonna have to learn English, because it's like, no, like you have to, if you're in Paris, if you're in France, try to speak French, or try, But also, like, it's a great,
or a freaking
anything, just something that they, at least that you're trying. And but yeah, Paris is great. I actually felt like a homeless walking around, because everybody's dressed so nice, and I was like, fuck, like I was like, but everybody was like fashion, like really like good fashion, and I'm like with a hoodie, and I'm like, oh my god, like.
It takes a while I mean, that's what I always say too, like having lived in Europe for so long, but I always, Canadians are the worst dressed in the world. Canadians are terrible. And then Americans are a second to that. Like, we love our baggy jeans and bald caps and goatees. All of those things are North American constructs that Europeans don't do. And Americans don't believe, like, they don't know that until they step out and go, oh, there's things that we do that nowhere else in the world does.
There's fashion.
There's fashion. I love. So is it safe to say, if I had to sum it up, Gina, is it safe to say, when I ask for a tradition or custom that you would love to bring back to America, basically what you said was the tradition or custom would be open-mindedness?
Yes, I would like to bring open-mindedness back to America.
That is how we sum that up. Yeah, because I love how because all the preconceived notions, and it's true. And I mean I mean, Americans do travel loud as well, so you always know when they.
But it is true. I think it's like, I mean, I think this is one of the reasons we do the podcast, because I think traveling is so important. I think everybody should. I mean, I think that should be a must for people to travel, because that's how you actually learn that it's not, you don't have to do things one way, and I think that's what happens here in the US sometimes. Like, people just stay in the US, so they think traveling is like, from LA to Boston, and I mean, you're gonna find like one difference, but it's not that. I mean, at the end of the day, the US is pretty much the same everywhere. You're not gonna get you're just gonna get different restaurants, but if you really want to experience cultures, like go to Europe, go to India, go to Africa, go to Asia, stuff like that, and you're really gonna see. And that's when it really opens your eyes, like with what Gina said, where it's like, oh yeah, people are not like this,
It would really blow your mind. Yeah.
Well, you were on the trains going from. Sorry, I missed. I can't remember which European countries you were talking about. But was it one of those?
To Paris.
London to Paris.
To Rome. Rome to Madrid.
So you went through the little the tunnel thing, and wow. So, and was it one of those train situations where the train guard comes to check your passports while you're on the train, or did you guys, or is there a border kind of deal?
I'm trying to remember if there was like a border deal or somebody. I think it was more like a border deal where they had to check your passport when you got on and off.
Right.
I don't remember that there was somebody coming to check the passports. I don't think so, but I straight up fell asleep.
So, right. Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that I think is the strategy. So,
yeah.
And it still tends to work. It still tends to work internationally in Europe. A lot of times, if you pretend you're falling asleep, whoever the German train guard or whatever, he'd rather just assume that you've got your paid ticket, and then they'll continue walking on. I've never had that strategy work internationally, but honestly, because I took the train from Italy up around to Germany and back, and then over to Britain. And the same thing, there was a couple times where I slept through the ticket check, and I was like, how does that happen? They
just let you sleep, or just like
yeah, they're in different. Like, it's Europe, man. We just have freedom of borders. Yeah, just go for it.
Getting a passport.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes, I think that's the answer. I was like, just get a passport. But I think also get a passport and then travel, because then you know what they do? They use the passport to then travel across the U.S. Because
Now, what about the other way around? Is there something that you would love, that you've discovered around the world, that you would love to introduce to New Zealand? Is there a tradition or a custom?
A tradition. Oh yeah, the siesta. 100% the siesta.
Oh, that's
the siesta.
Spain. Is that Spain? Am I correct?
Yeah, they do it in Spain, but over also South America.
Right?
Well, I think Italians do it as well.
Italians,
but like a break in the middle of the day, like everything should just shift. So
yes, I agree with that.
You go home for 2 hours in the middle of the day. You have lunch. You see your significant other. And then you go back to work, and you work later, and then you eat later.
Yes.
And then, everything's just different.
It's everything so... Yeah, like in Spain, like in Venezuela, we had that because the Spanish influence. But yeah, my dad, for example, had his own business, and he would pick me up at school at 1 p.m. and then he would come with his friend, with his colleague that he used to work with, and then we'll go home. And over there we had a maid, because everybody can have a maid. So the maid had already lunch, so we ate lunch, and then my dad would actually take a nap, and his friend would go to the living room and take a nap there. And then because I remember, and then he would wake up. It's like, all right, so they would go back at at 3 back to his and then they would finish at 7 or 8, and then you have dinner like at 9 or 10. So everything kind of shifts. But I also like that. I think it's like here is a complete opposite, because here you have to eat your lunch in your cubicle. There's no, you're even going out. It's like, oh, sorry, I got 30 minutes. Everything's so like boom, 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 fast. And it's like, and I think I do like that, having that break. I think it makes, and actually people are more happy, because they enjoy, like you get a break, you go lunch, you can go home, whatever,
Doesn't I think America has one of the most intense working schedules, don't they? They work their people to death in America.
They don't have vacations. I mean, it's crazy. Like vacations here are like 2 weeks, and that's it in the whole year.
Right. Even
like that's a normal thing. 2 weeks in the full year.
We get 5 weeks guaranteed by the government. Everybody.
Yeah, that doesn't happen here at all. Like, I mean, I remember I used to work in an office, and they actually had a better, I think it was like 4 weeks that you could spread out, and everybody was like, wow, that's crazy, because that never happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get 5 weeks because I'm self-employed, but people.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think even what is it, labor leave or whatever is very low in America as well. Maternity leave, labor leave. How long are you in labor that you need? Anyway, I meant maternity leave. Very different. Yeah, they work them to death in America. I don't think Americans realize that. This comes back to the start of the show when we were talking about freedoms. you know, and the freedom and the idea that, you know, that here in America, but if Americans knew how much holiday time and freedoms that other countries get, and they'd realize, oh wow, I got 2 weeks last year, 2 weeks unpaid leave, you know.
We even have paternity leave here now. I think so. You get 2 weeks for the bloke, for the man.
That's
which is a great concept, and because I really like this. We did a piece on this on the Jeffrey show about this, because they're doing it in Europe as well, and it's helping close the income gap. You know, it's helping close the financial gap, because now men have to take that leave too, so that both parents split the responsibilities, but also both genders have equal opportunities to advance their careers when they have babies and have partners. So I'm all for it, which is weird because I talked about it I remember talking about it in the writer's room and saying it's a good idea. And a couple of the writers were like blown away and they were offended. They're like, oh, so men should benefit again. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this would even things out on the career path. Like, men should get a holiday now. Like, no. This is why. This is the whole reason why there's an income gap in the first place, because men can keep working and keep doing their thing. But if we force them to have paternity leave, then it evens things out for people and it will equal. But it's hard. Some people don't see that right away.
Yeah, no.